Well, I'm going to share with you a project that we have had for quite a few years called Systematic and Engaging Early Literacy Instruction. And I'll start by talking about what it is, and then our application to mobile devices. We've used technology over the years and are currently moving into some mobile devices. So we have a mix of using some computerized instruction, but some iPad applications. So our settings, we work in Head Start and Title I preschools. We work in kindergarten and first grade as well as the preschool. And we've worked in English and Spanish classrooms and dual language classrooms. So our materials are in Spanish and English. And so we've also done several service delivery models. We have whole class instruction. We have professional development where we train the teachers. So the whole class is when we're collaborating with the teachers and we're in there. Then we have professional development where the teachers are doing most of the interventions. And then we have supplemental where we provide the teachers with some support in the classroom, either by training volunteers or by providing our Brigham Young University students as some paraeducators. We've also trained paraeducators. So we have a variety of models. And we have web-based. Looks like the bottom of this is cutting off. I'll talk first about our instructional principles and what our classroom looks like, and then we'll move into the application, and Brittany Davies will provide that. So we have very intense instruction. Our goal is to have high-frequency inputs on our literacy targets, but with variety and engagement, because we've been reading a lot of the literature and following the literature that talks about the importance of motivation and engagement, and you can't get motivation by continuing the same tasks if they're structured and non-meaningful and there isn't much meaning construction for the children. So we have variety, and therefore our instructions are very interactive and responsive, and we do have, as I mentioned, co-constructed meaning with students and the children, the teachers and the children. So we're playful and engaging, and we draw upon theme and literature-based, but we're also very explicit and systematic. So we're really hybrid in that we embed this implicit instruction into very meaningful activities. So we have a curriculum that aligns with the Common Core and that aligns with our state core, but it's a bit more detailed. And so, for example, at the beginning of the year in kindergarten, this is just a quick example, we're focusing on certain letter sound associations and short vowel words and a lot of phonological awareness. But we're primarily playing with onset and rhyme, blending and segmenting with the initial consonant or blend separated from the rhyme ending. But we do move into analyzing and manipulating words at the phoneme level. But we just give kids experience with a larger chunk of that word endings before we move into breaking words down into the phoneme. And we work with reading of high frequency words and then reading of controlled and decodable texts. But our curriculum also includes vocabulary and story comprehension and print awareness. We operate within themes, and so we have our targets, and then we look for themes and stories that fit within keywords within those targets, and then we integrate the instruction across the theme or within the theme and good children's literature, but also across context. So we really capitalize on, we want high-frequency instruction. And the technology supplements that because in addition to working across all contexts, we also have this supplemental instruction that's delivered by the computer. So here's just an example. If we're working on ACK, we think of high-frequency words or high meaningful words, pack and snack pack and backpack. And then we think about context like taking a trip, packing, moving, And then we think of books and stories that we have that can fit those themes. And one of those is Sheep Take a Hike. And so this is just a little clip, which we'll see whether or not you can hear. I use a little Spanish here because a lot of these are native Spanish speaking kids in Head Start, but my Spanish was horrible there, so I'm so embarrassed.
And this is the rack where you put your packs and your snacks. We've got a rack to put our packs and our snacks. And I've got my black pack, my black backpack. Black pack rhyme. Black pack rhyme. And in my backpack, I have sacks. Sack in backpack. Sack. Now we're going on a trip, so pack snack. We're going to pretend. Pack snack. Put your snack in the rack. This is a rack. Put your snack in the rack. Snack in the rack. Oh my goodness, this rack has a hole. Pack snack. A crack in the rack. Let's get on.
So we do a lot of playing with it auditorily, and then we map the print onto the sound ending, or to whatever phonological pattern we're playing with.
Tracks. Forgot the tracks. Look here. Use tracks. Look, I packed tracks. Track. All right, now we've got tracks. Get back on the train. All right, stop. Get out of the train. Take your snack back. Now we're going to go for a hike. Snack back for Matt. Snack back. Okay, ready? Get out of the train, and we can start to track up the hill and walk. Bye, Hacia. Vamos caminar. And I've got a sack. A pack sack. That's it. And a backpack for my walk. Pack sack. So, hey, ¿dónde estamos? What else?
Okay, so I pull out a bear, and the bear has tracks, and we follow the bear tracks, and then the kids follow the... all of our activities throughout the day are very engaging, hands-on, meaningful, and they all relate to our targets and to targeted themes and to good children's literature. So extremely integrated. And so here's an example of our context. Obviously, this is just a list of our contexts, taking advantage of all contexts, and then a range of different types of activities because we want the variation and we want the engagement. And we have some like the story enactments, obviously, and the dramatic storytelling focus a bit more on comprehension than some of the others. But we always do a lot of connecting ideas and talking about the ideas from one context to the next. And so just some examples of how we would fill in activities that have meaning, but also can focus on our target skills across these themes, or within the theme and across a number of different contexts. And because we have so many activities, we can provide supplemental small group instruction for children who need extra support that's related, but not just repeated. And the kids absolutely love what we do. And they talk about what they do, and they want more of it, and they cheer us when we come in the room. It's just unbelievable. So then all of these experiences, like following a track back to a shack, or getting your backpack and packing your backpack and following tracks, or can be easily turned into decodable text. So the children have the experience, and then it's their experience that either we can turn into decodable text for shared reading, or we can evoke the decodable text from the children through interactive writing. And then they're reading their own text, but their own text happens to be a decodable text, but it's related to an experience that they've had and that they've been extremely motivated to participate in. And so some of the things that we do in large group we would pack a backpack and stack the things in the backpack, and we would crack back black things. So and we would stack jacks. And so while we're engaged in these activity of packing the backpack, there are lots of fun, amazing things that can go in or out of this black backpack. And we build in reasons to read within packing and unpacking the backpack. Now, some of these activities we would do in preschool as well, just for rhyming, but when we move into kindergarten, we're focusing on reading mapped onto the sound pattern. And even our kindergarten kids that don't have good phonological awareness or come from different language backgrounds get both together well, the phonological awareness. And then we have reasons to write and engage in guided reading with our own texts. We've turned a lot of our texts into mini books, but also other controlled texts. And then we have other extension activities that focus on particular skills, like our taste tests for letter sound associations and snacks that crack, and we make black snack packs with snacks that crack. And here they're playing with cracking, packing, and here blending with sack as they're following the tracks. In small group or home activities, actually, we're speaking later on this afternoon about our home extension. So we have, this just flips back up and the kids have their own things that they can back, and they can write backwards all over the backpack, and they can take these home. So we've got fairly easily producible materials. And then in transitions, things like following the tracks to go back, or deciding whether you're going to take the train tracks or the bear tracks to go back. And I think actually this is probably
Snack bag. Did you eat your snack? Snack? Snack bag. Oh, you didn't eat? No meal?
so in terms of the class routines too. And what happens is your head gets playing with what are your targets, and then it's contagious, and the kids play with it and the teachers play with it, and so it really does get filled into every single moment. And that's the thing, that kids really get it, so therefore they play with it themselves, and they generate it themselves. They generate a lot of meaning. Here's the example of what it looks like in transition, where they snack their snack. And not all of our materials, we have thousands of materials, lots and lots of materials, because this was started out federally funded in 1998. We've been continuing to develop it and work on it since. And so we have articles available on the work, but we're taking our materials and we're putting them up on the web, and it is open source. We have many more materials than we even have on the web yet, but we're working daily to get more and more up. And so one of the things that we did was we did a lot of computerizing our stories. So we take pictures of kids. From the very beginning, we would take pictures of kids in this instruction and then turn them into read and write versions of digital books that we used with the kids, and they just loved these. And so they're personalized, tailor-made, but decodable, but the kids see themselves. And I'm turning it over to Brittany to talk more about that.
Oh, yay. Okay, I work for Project SEAL, and I've done it for just over a year and a half now. And about this time last year, they asked me and one of my coworkers how to integrate this into technology for this competition. And so this is kind of the work that we did. And we we're really excited about it. We chose to use the iPad, and at the time it actually wasn't out yet. So we have a lot of screenshots that we used from just like a computer app of the iPad at the time. We're focusing on an application that just engages the students. It targets specific skills like this ACT target that they've already learned in a class, so it's just supplemental to their learning, and it contextualizes instructions. It just teaches kindergartners how to read and write, obviously the ACT target or any of the targets or any of the beginning letter sounds, anything like that. Why did we choose the iPad? When first being asked to do this competition that we had to do this for, me and my colleague thought of just the iPod Touch, and I have, I'm the oldest of 7, and I've got little brothers, and they love to play with my older brother's iPod Touches, to the point that they probably break them, and, they just love to play with them. But we realized that that's really not very big, and that's really hard for a kindergartner-age student to manipulate. And we looked online, and we found that they obviously were coming out with the iPad, and, it's out now, and it's perfect size for a kindergartner or an early education child to use. They're very appealing to children. They're very compatible to use like in schools or at home. Good for like small group instruction, just adding an emphasis to what has been learned through these fun activities in the classroom. It's just great. Just the development of SEAL, just an added, she mentioned this right at the end, we have a huge database of just graphics and activities and all these things that focus on particular targets, and it's just so fun to go through, and obviously everything we have on this website isn't everything that we have developed, and we just continuously put stuff up there that you can use and that's totally free and open for you to use, and then you can make it your own. And so I love working for this project, and I've been able to go in schools and implement it, and I've loved every minute of it, and kids love it. And so what an added benefit it is to put it in technology where kids want to be a part of the technology. They know it's cool no matter what age they are. I promise they do, because I've been in schools and I have siblings, and I know that as soon as Dad brings home his iPad, no matter what's on it, my little brothers want to play with it. And even if it's typing on it or anything, they want to use it. It's just very active, hands-on approach. I said that. Students are exposed to this target word again, visually and audibly, as well as prompted to follow along and read. So this is like where they would be able to get use of where the keyboard, how it works, but then they just press it with their finger. Students learn to speak it because they read over a target text, which is much just like a poem. I think it's on this one. It's just like this thing up here in the corner where they would read along with this. And I'll show you a video in just a little bit where it explains it better. And then obviously where at the end, this is the example of the mini book, and it reads a story, and then it will pop up, and they'll have to type in, the ACT ending over and over again for every object that comes up, and then it will read it to them. So they speak it, they read it, they have to spell it, and they just learn to recognize it over and over again.
Welcome to the Black Backpack. Pack the backpack with all the ACT words. Ready? Go!
Track. Good job. You packed the track in the black backpack.
SEAL truly values the tactic of visual and oral repetition in helping students more effectively learn to recognize the target word ending.
Sack.
In our application, we wanted to be sure that the students would be exposed to the target in a variety of different formats, including repetitive sounds and images. When a child taps an object, it will repeat back to them what that object is so they can hear it as they read the word.
Sack.
So obviously we didn't have an iPad at the time, so we did this all, on the computer. So you just you pull everything and put it in. And it's great. I don't know if we can speed it up
For
at
the
all.
images that are not ACT words, the image bounces back to its original position.
Bud. Uh-oh. Bud does not end in act. It can't go in the black backpack. Try again. Shack. Good job.
Oh, I'm trying to get the little...
You packed the shack in the black backpack.
That's just on
You did it!
It's just trying to just down back this one.
Welcome to the
Trying to get the...
Black Backpack.
Trying to control it.
Anyway, it'll go through and it will like pull up all those screenshots that throughout the presentation that you saw are just shown here, like how they would work. So kids will just take their finger and they'll drag those in, and then you come to a target text that's like a poem, and it, it's like read along with me as we do it, and a person reads along and it'll light up, or a ball will bounce along it as they're reading along to it, and then you'll come to a mini book where it's just that target again and again, where it looked much like, where's the picture? I'll show you. just like that, where then they'll enter it in, and it's just really fun and engaging for children. So
I just want to quickly end up with where we are now. We've created some other materials that look at letter sound association and assess kids' knowledge, so you can get an indication of the numbers of letters that children correctly identified. And then we have a word blaster where kids fill up this pipe with at words, but the things that don't rhyme with at can't enter, and then they get blasted. All the at words can get blasted, where all the at words are going to go into space. But then this is a picture of our digitized books based upon the personal experiences the kids have had, so they can see. But what we found is we need to do more creating of more contextualized apps like the app ones, but they're very expensive to create, and they turned out to be more expensive than we anticipated, which is why we ended up also relying on some of the more repetitive, predictable games. But we still don't want to give up our desire for contextualized mobile apps that can fit with themes and can be much more focused on a particular curricular and can fit with other experiences that kids had in other good children's literature. I think that's the goal, is to get integrated instruction, which is what we want for preschool children, young children, and let the computerized devices be part of it, so that they're really integrated. So that's our goal. But we also believe that these personalized, tailor-made digital books, getting them on the iPad, will also be much less expensive, at least for us. I mean, it's going to be a while before we can get those available for everybody, but at least we can use them with our children in a device that the kids would find much more engaging and appealing using just already existing interactive hypertext. So that's where we are. Thank you.
Questions?
I have a suggestion, actually. Precisely your goals at the end. You might want to get in contact with Professor Jack Mostow at Carnegie, who I think has been working on very similar things and has machines that recognize a child's speech and responds to it, that sort of thing.
Thank you very much. Actually, I'm from Pittsburgh, so.
Oh, was it Jack what?
No, Jack Mostow.
Thank you. Yes.
So you built a custom app that allows you to insert the pictures as you need it based on your instruction, is that?
We have two. We have, in addition to the one that Brittany did was a prototype, but in addition to that, we have created others that were contextualized, where we've got these little creatures that turn mad or glad on their glad or mad pad. And so we have contextualized others, but they're more expensive to create. So, but in addition, we've used really just PowerPoint to use the kids' own pictures. And what we have found is that even if we're using kids' pictures from the previous year, kids just love to see other children in instruction. And so we've used them, even though we've created them in one classroom, we've used them in other classrooms. And so I think that's the other thing. We also videotapes of kids in instruction. Kids watching other kids in instruction is another way that I want to go.
So just a suggestion as well is one app that you might consider to do that and integrate children's work is an app by Assistiveware for iPad called Pictello. And it allows you to bring in the pictures, add text, have that read back to the children using text-to-speech, or allows the children to record their own voice, or you record your voice, and then make something similar to what you have there.
That's terrific. That is wonderful. Thank you.
It's called Pictello, Pictello. By Assistiveware is the name of the developer. It's $14.99 currently. I couldn't answer that question because I'm not familiar with that.
And that's where we are too in terms of exploring. We need to do much more implementing existing apps and doing that exploring. So I am so grateful for these suggestions.
assessments have you used with the children to talk about child outcomes?
Yeah, well, we've used the PALS, the preschool or phonological awareness reading, which isn't just phonological awareness. We've used that. We've used some of our own measures. And we've looked at teachers and engagement. The teachers, we get incredibly positive buy-in from the teachers.
I wanted to ask about distribution. I mean, obviously the App Store is a distribution mechanism for apps, but you know, I'm not sure that given how much stuff is out there, how you know if you're linking with your target audience and who your target audience is and so forth. How are people primarily accessing this? Do you have data on it? Like, who is your target audience?
Yeah, our target audience are teachers, early childhood educators, the collaborative team members. Like I said, we're open access. We do have a lot of professional development frameworks that we have operated on. That's it. That's whoever can benefit from all the work that we've been doing. But we would like the recognition, the acknowledgement, and we would like the exchange. It would be nice. Like, I'm very grateful for your contributions to us that helped us to make the improvements. So we've done it for first grade. We have it, but we don't have our first grade materials up on the web.
When you say it's theme-based, it's theme-based, but it's organized around ACT, really. So, or the
Whatever ending.
Whatever ending. Is it such that, so week 1 would be all about taking a hike? So
Yeah, okay. That's a really good question. We've done it both ways. We have both fit in with the teacher's theme, and we've also created our own things. It's really easier, obviously, if we can have a week on taking hikes or moving. But you can take ACT or app, and sometimes whatever your endings are, and not absolutely everything we do obviously fits the theme either. So, for example, we're working with teachers on expository texts now as well, and we're working in a unit of bugs. And so we do we're bringing in crickets and they can see the crickets, and so we're playing with alliteration. This is preschool alliteration with creepy critters that crawl like crickets, and crickets we can pull out and say cricket's hot. But then at snack, we're also going to play with the crinkly, crunchy, packing crumblies, because we were playing with the CR sound. Well, the packing material for flakes, corn flakes and things, and so we shifted into crumbly and crusty and crinkly, and so we give ourselves a lot of poetic license. But in terms of bugs, it's amazing what we can do because we have so much material to fit the teacher's themes as well. It's just easier to go. And people will say, what books do you use? So we have tons and tons of wonderful books that we like. And we're trying to get them up the list of the books on the web, but it doesn't really matter. You know, if we're working on an ending that fits with cats or bats, there are tons of really good children's literature or good expository texts. We're collecting our expository materials as well. And so what we don't want to do is limit the teachers to a particular text because they're either out of print or if they can get expensive. Sometimes you can get them pretty inexpensively, obviously, but draw upon good literature that you happen to have available. But we just can fit into those themes.
We're going to have to stop there.